Welcome back to Scale Out a Guy's Workbench. Today we're going to be building something really fast, really simple. It's a curbside kit. Let's get started. Welcome back. As you can see, and you probably saw by the thumbnail, we're working on this AMT 96 Chevy C3500 dually pickup. It is part of the Easy Build series, so that means it's a curbside build. Now, it also gives you the option to put an engine in it if you choose to. And first up is that big dually body. This is actually a short bed. I just realized it. It's not the long bed, but the extended cab makes up for it. Anyway, you can put an engine in this. They have an opening hood. They have a radiator support wall. The firewall is a little bit bland, but you can put an engine in this with an opening hood. That is totally your choice. I'm thinking about going with the curbside build on this one, mainly because I don't have an engine to install. And so I just have the engine insert just kind of scotch taped in place. So this gives you an idea what your chassis will look like with the engine insert in place. Like I said, that's just scotch taped in there right now. That whole piece comes out and that is all open so that you can install your own engine. The chassis is pretty well detailed with everything molded in. The exhaust system is going to be a little bit difficult to paint. Not horrible, just a little bit difficult. And I'm not sure, but I think they have these reversed. Usually the catalytic converter's up here somewhere. Engineers. Engineers. They're the guys that put the 3-inch bolt into the engine block and give you 1.5 inches of space to get it out. And it's on a part that fails. Go figure. On this first tree here, I cut the engine insert out of this and installed it in that, but it gives you your steering wheel and steering column mirrors. This one here has your hood. It does have hinges on it, albeit they're very small hinges, so you're not going to really want to display this open. There's no detail on the bottom of the hood. Here's your tailgate. It's all one piece. Usually these are two pieces that you have to glue together. It's nice that it's one piece. And it has little hinge points on it, so you can have it where you can open it or you can just glue it shut. Next up is a set of unpainted wheels. If that's what you want to do, you can paint those to match however you want. Or you can use the ones that come on the chrome tree that, you know, they're basically the same wheels, just chromed. Now the front bumper was loose in the bag, which makes it kind of nice because there's no attachment points on the bumper. It's clean. So that must have fallen off in the mold. They just threw it in the bag. The rear bumper is kind of the same way. It's only held down by the one little ear there, and that'll be nice because I've commented before about how they should put those, you know, kind of in the back in some place that's inconspicuous, so when you cut them off the tree, you're not leaving these big glaring marks on the bumper. But it's been like that for decades, and it'll continue to be that way. But I wish they would kind of redesign that, especially on the chrome tree. On the other parts where you're going to paint them, it doesn't matter. You just cut them off and sand that off, and then you throw your paint on there. But the chrome is a little bit more difficult to fix. With the Molotow chrome pens, yeah, you can do it and it looks okay, or you can strip it and totally paint it with Molotow and it looks okay. But I just wish they would do something a little bit different. Alright, next up is your interior tub and seats. There are a couple of swirl marks in the backs of the seats here, but it's not going to be a big deal because you're not going to see it. The dash is pretty well detailed. Looks pretty nice. And I'll show you on the decal sheet, they do give you a gauge decal and a decal that looks like it might go over your radio. That's going to be fun to get to lay down over all those buttons. I've managed to do it in the past, but you have to work on it a little bit. Next up, they give you 2 metal axles and 6 vinyl rubber tires. These tires are kind of stiff, and I don't want to say they're directional, but they give you a couple of different sidewall patterns. I don't know if you can see that or not. You have this style sidewall pattern, and you have this style. And again, with the tread, you have multiple blocks on this side, a smooth rib on that side. So I don't want to say they're directional. They're definitely smooth wall. There's no branding on them. But I'm going to go with this to the outside. I think it looks a little bit better. Last up, as far as the parts trees go, is your glass and your taillights and headlight lenses. It's full wraparound rear glass and then your windshield. Next up is your decal sheet. It gives you a couple different companies that you can put on the side of your truck. You know, 3500 badges. It gives you 4 different Chevrolet badges for the tailgate. Gives you 2 different sets of license plates. Here's your dash gauges, and the one that I said that I told you that it would look like it goes over your radio face. So that's going to be nice. Gives you a couple different style bow tie emblems. And the Silverado nameplates that go on the side of the cab back here by the, I guess it would be the C pillar on that little block. Also gives you the Chevrolet emblems to go inside the wheels. I find those to be problematic, 1, because of their size, and 2, because, let me get this set of wheels out here. On the center of the wheel there, you got a little hump for the Chevrolet emblem. The problem is those little decals don't like to lay down over that hump. Now, if I was to use these wheels, I'd probably go in there with my Dremel and kind of grind that out flat, and then put the decal in there. That's probably something that AMT should have done. I know that by licensing and, you know, the plans or diagrams, whatever, that General Motors sends over to them, this is the way the wheels are, so this is the way they mold them. But when it comes down to the builder, I think that would be a lot nicer if that was smooth, and then you could just throw that little decal in there and it would lay down and look good. Some guys get those lay down. I've not had good luck with that. I've had problems with that with a few builds now. It's kind of a pain. My 57 Cadillac Eldorado that I did, that had those little center decals, and they didn't want to lay down. As a matter of fact, they crumbled into pieces, but I ended up just painting the center of the hubcaps red. It looked good, as long as you didn't get too close. Alright, last up is your one-page direction sheet. It's, like I said, this is a real simple, quick, easy build. 6 steps for completion. Well, there's not a whole lot to pre-assemble on this, just the seat backs. I'm going to glue that body together with the bed before I prime it, because I think it'll just make it easier to assemble. And it appears as though, as long as you get these 2 little tabs in the back, they go in the little slots, as long as you get them in there, everything pops right down into place. And that won't be any different if the cab is on there. So I'm going to do that as one piece. That, and I can make sure that I've got all the body lines set up and they're straight and even. So there you go. Well, let's get started on this. I'm not sure what color I want to paint this yet. I've looked online at a few 96 3500 images. I've come across a few that I liked. One of them was it was like a mint green metallic on the top and bottom, and the center was silver. I saw one that was maroon metallic, which I liked. A lot of folks go with the blue, like the box art, and that looks good, but I've got plenty of blue vehicles around here. I think it's time for a color change up. So let me look through all my paints. I've got a bunch of them here. I don't know if I'll go with a color shift or just a regular metallic paint. I have some pearl paints. So let me take a look at what I have. I'll decide, and while I'm doing that, you guys can watch the next scene. Alright fellas, we're going to put the wheels and tires together. I already did this first one, and surprisingly it went in with no problems whatsoever. It just fit right in there, just like that. Now maybe what those other people were talking about is the dualies. Those can be, well, I'm guessing that they can be problematic because you have to fit them in. You got to fit two of them on there. So let's give this a try. Well, that went right on. Keep in mind, I did not heat these or anything. These are just cold out of the package. Well, what do you know? The rumors that these tires are hard to get on is not, those rumors are not true. Those popped right on there with no problems whatsoever. You know, just do one from each side. Don't try to put them all on from one, you know, the same side and then slide them across and everything. Just put one from on this side and run one from this side. Now those little tabs inside the tires, you got to kind of push them down and in there. But let's rotate them a little bit. Make sure you got them on there kind of even. Now normally I would sand these, but I'm just going to leave them as is. And there you go. I know there should be a little bit of a gap between them. There you go. Did I do the same? Yep. Okay. Tires and wheels are done. So there you go. Now I've got everything prepped and ready to go over to the paint booth. All my sub-assemblies are done, which weren't very many. So let's head to the paint booth. Let's throw some primer. Alright fellas, I just finished up putting a clear coat on the seats and dash. I didn't film any painting of this. I mean, you guys have probably seen interiors being painted a million times, but I will show you the colors that I used. I forgot one here. Okay, on the seats I used the soft suede, Deco Art soft suede. On the door panels and the dash, I use Apple Barrel Light Mocha. The carpeting is the Folk Art Teddy Bear Tan. And the darker areas around the dash and the steering wheel, the Folk Art Matte Peppercorn. And I just, and some Folk Art Gloss Black on the pedals. And I put a very light coat of Future floor polish over the door panels, the seats, the center console, the dash, and the steering wheel. I'm going to let that dry. That's still kind of tacky. And once that's dry, I'm going to go ahead and put everything together. I still have to do one more clear coat on the body, and you can see that at the top of the camera view there. And once that is done, well, I still have to paint the chassis parts. Once that's all done, we're off to the final. Welcome to the final on this 1996 Chevy C3500 extended cab dually pickup. This is a curbside truck, as you saw earlier in the video, but it does give you the option to put an engine in if you choose to do so. For me, on this particular build, normally I like to put engines into these builds, but for some reason this one here I just didn't feel it. So I went ahead, glued the hood shut, and called it a day. Now, as far as the rest of the build goes, well, everything went together really well. There was no fitment issues, there was no warpage. Everything fell right into place. As you could see earlier in the video, I put the body together. I physically glued the bed to the cab of the truck and then went on and painted it from that point. I put the chassis into the body as well before I painted it, so that I had something to clip onto, because my normal paint stand, it caused the body to sit funny because of the division between the back of the cab and the front of the bed. So I had to use my little mechanics helpers, or electrician's helpers I should say, to clip the body, and then I could adjust it as far as equality, so it was level. And that way there, the paint went on even. If there was any runs that I didn't detect any runs, but if there had been any runs, it would have puddled in, the front or the back or whatever. This way here it was nice and even. The paint went on nice and even and flat like it should. As you could see, I did show that I put 2 coats of clear on it. I ended up putting a 3rd coat on it, like I mentioned earlier in the video as well. And this is the end result. Now, around the windows, I used a black Sharpie. Normally I would use my black chrome, but the edges in there were sufficiently deep enough, and they were very well defined. I could take the Sharpie and go in there and just do the trim around the windows. Did it come out perfect? No, not exactly, but it looks pretty damn good. The interior was a breeze to put together, And once it was finished, it popped right up into place like it was meant to be. And everything else just kind of went together. One word of caution though, the wheels, when I went to put the wheels and tires onto the chassis, there was a little bit of an issue with the front ones, and as I was pushing the wheels together onto the axle, one kind of popped off of there, and I broke outside of the what do you call that on the back, the little hole where the axle goes in. I broke out the side of that a little bit. That was easily repaired, but that's just something to kind of keep an eye on when you do this, when you push those in, because they fit really tight. So be careful when you're pushing the tires and wheels together on the axles. You can actually put those together and then drop them into the chassis, because there's slots in the chassis where they can just fit in there. And then on the bottom of the body there's little arms, I guess you could call it, that go down and they hold the axles down in place. So you can put them together and then drop them in and then put the body on. That's what I ended up doing. It was easier that way. Now, they don't give you lenses for these side marker lights, and so I just took a little bit of the Tamiya clear orange and clear red and dabbed a little in there to simulate those side marker lights. I put some chrome foil, the bare metal foil, behind the tail lights. On the headlights I used the clear orange for the side markers, and I used some Tamiya panel line black for inside the grille. Everything else was acrylic craft paint, and there you go. This is the finished product. So what do you guys think? Does it look good? Leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about it. So this build is done. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and click that thumbs up button. It helps YouTube algorithm to share my content, which helps the channel grow. If you have any questions or comments, please write those in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to respond as soon as possible. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, or you can drop me a line at scaleautoguy@gmail.com. If you want more videos like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, don't forget that, so that you'll be notified when I release a new video. Thanks for watching Scale Auto Guy's Workbench, and I'll catch you on the next build.